You are connected to the Evolving Digital Podcast.
Welcome to the next episode of Evolving Digital, the podcast where we discuss the evolution of digital with experts and leaders in the field. I'm here today with Niek Meijer. He is, Director of Product and Technology at Toelevering Online, or in the international markets, we call it Provix Europe. Right?
Yes, that's correct.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
Welcome. And to my right, Roger. Welcome again.
Hello.
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 For those of you who don't know Toelevering Online or Provix Europe, it's a disruptor in the traditional construction sector. It's a full online player in window frames and doors.
Yes.
And as a client, you can kind of configure and construct your own window frame, basically, right?
Yes. Yeah, we are not a manufacturing, so we are a supplier of, and we created a platform where customers, consumers, both consumers and business to business as well, can create custom-built window frames.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so that's the magic, one platform. You're Director of Product and Technology, and it was a revolution in the construction or in the value chain, so to speak.
We started in 2017 as a project from Nijers Toelevering, and back then they wanted to do some kind of experiment in which they want to see if they can sell window frames online. The traditional way of working is that a contractor or a consumer, for that matter, or any type of customer, they just went to window frame manufacturing. Then the window frame got drawn, and then it went back and forward to create another. The first already the selling process, the commercial process, took a couple of days, weeks.
Yeah.
Before you had an offer and a window frame drawing of that matter.
Yeah.
Which could be manufactured.
Yeah. So making the impossible possible. That was the headline of your company.
Yes. Yeah.
Got it. When we met, you were still a business and IT partner at Koninklijke Gros. So that was a few years ago.
Yeah.
And now you're part of a scale-up company that's growing and expanding quite rapidly.
Yeah.
What is for you the biggest difference between being part of a corporate and then making a transition to a very fast-growing player?
Yeah. Maybe I can use a metaphor for this. Because working in a bigger corporate, and especially back then Gros was part of Sub Miller, it's a large company. And it really is compared to driving a bus compared to a Formula One car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The speed.
Out of control Formula One car. yeah. It's the speed. Yeah.
It's the speed. Yeah.
The speed in everything, or just how technical developments are going, or how market is changing, or
everything.
Everything.
Yeah, it's everything. It's not only the market, because we are trying to be or are that leader in the market. So continually staying ahead of the competition.
Yeah.
That's a driver. But as a result of that, you need to be technology innovating the platform constantly. And we've been right now we've been in transformation for 2 years. So that's really a little bit of a struggle and really sets down the pace a little bit. But it's also for the organization as a whole, for the teams, for the people, the way we work together, because it's constantly growing. New people join the company, organization needs to change. So that's
very dynamic.
That's really
very dynamic
challenge.
environment. Yeah. We're going to dive into 3 different topics together. First, replatforming. You mentioned it already.
Yeah.
Even though it's a relatively new and disruptive and fast-growing company, replatforming was on the table. And then the transformational process from the company's perspective, the team's perspective, perhaps your personal perspective.
Yeah.
So what does that take? And we might just close with looking ahead and what's next for Toelevering Online or Provix. Let's start with the replatforming. First of all, if you're still relatively young and growing that fast, why replatform? What was the reason to even think of replatforming your product?
Well, as I said earlier, that we started as a kind of an experiment, and that experiment, they wanted to create an e-commerce platform fast. So they used a WordPress WooCommerce solution, which really did the job. And over the years, the first years, they build things in it, custom build, and it gets more and more complex and less scalable.
Yeah.
And we need a scalable platform, a scalable solution to scale in the pace the company scales.
Right.
So after, well, I think it was 3 years ago, right before I came in, they come to the conclusion that it's just end of life.
Yeah.
And that then
you couldn't stretch it any further.
you couldn't stretch it any further. It was so complex to
No.
build new features. Took a lot of time to build new features.
Maintenance, hard.
High maintenance, yeah. Security-wise, it was a really
Risk.
big risk. Yeah.
So that was kind of your assignment when you came in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My first assignment was, Nick, you're going to change the platform, build us a new platform based on a new architecture. And
Good
yeah,
luck.
we start. Good luck.
Good luck.
Yeah, this is your team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how did you go about that? Because I can imagine you have to keep the shop open.
Yeah.
You can't just close down for a couple of...
No.
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 So how did you go about that?
Well, with ups and downs, really,
Yeah.
because back then we decided to have full focus on the replatforming. We figured that it would take us about a year at least to do a replatforming, and we decided to do minimal changes to the priority changes to the
existing platform.
existing platform.
Yeah.
So
Did you divide then the team into full-on innovation, new platform,
Yeah.
and
No. Well, when I came in, we had an agency which supported us for the upkeep of the old platform, and there was another element which brings extra complexity to the table, was that we decided to expand internationally. So one of the
so
one of
please
the
replatform while we're also
Yeah,
expanding.
yeah, while expanding. So and when I came in, the team was finalizing and wrapping up the based on a new architecture, kind of, because it was still WordPress, but it was kind of a headless version, headless setup, and they were deploying Belgium.
Yeah.
And so it was starting a new platform, because we decided that's also not gonna work. Really iterate that Belgian platform was built in like a temporary solution.
Mhm.
So we got the temporary Belgium solution. We've got the current platform, and we're gonna start it because we decided to build a new platform.
So basically three things.
3 environments.
The existing one, the pilot for Belgium,
Yeah.
to learn about the market in Belgium and what it takes to really do business in another country. And then the scalable, expandable new platform for the future.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Quick question. Let's go back to where you said yes to the job.
Yep.
And then in a organization that was very dynamic and fast, and then you said, "That's cool. It's going to take a year."
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did that work out? I mean,
No,
was
it was, I before at my previous companies where I worked, I did multiple transformations. So we kind of sit down also with the team, and we contracted back then. We contracted a new agency, and we had discussions. What's gonna take at least to build an MVP, which is a version which might replace the current web shop with all with the configurator, because that's the most complex part.
Yeah.
And we just estimated a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how did you sell that internally? I mean, if there's expansion models and there's keeping the shop open, was that a hard sell internally?
No, it was not a hard sell for me, because the decision was already made before I came in, right before. So,
but taking it that it will take a year.
Yeah.
Was that like your
well,
from a
the
pilot
first
to
expectations were, we're gonna take 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, that's
but when that's before we knew what we knew, right? So you're constantly learning, getting new information, and you have to do it about experience. You have to look into your experience. But after we were really looking into getting the first designs, deciding how the architecture should look like, what kind of commerce platform we are going to use, and from there we started to calculate what are we going to expect.
Yeah. So from an initial 3-4 months to a year, that was okay. That if that's what it realistically takes, we have to invest.
Takes. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. I also remember you saying replatforming is a business transformation, and as a leader of that transformation, you felt like you carried the entire business on your shoulder.
Yeah.
Can you explain?
Yeah, because the struggle is it's hard to innovate when transforming a new business. So we already the current platform was out of life, end of life, and after that we were not able to bring new features, not on a large scale.
Right.
It was really minor changes that was possible. And when we decided to go for a year, that was a decision, right? We made it with the management team back then, and we going for it. So first we decided to re-platform Belgium again. So right after
was just launched.
Yeah, but because it was a kind of a proof of concept for on the new platform, Belgium wasn't that big back then, so it was not a big risk. And after the decision was made, we just go ahead. There was pressure to finish the project. That's always
the case,
but not really the pressure of the angle of we're not able to grow or innovate. We also, from a strategic point of view, we decided, okay, what can we do?
Yeah,
and not what can't we do. So, and if you look at what can we do, we have a culture at Toelevering Online Profix, which is really resilient, but also able to adapt to the situation. So back then, a year, that's manageable. But after a year, we made a very hard call because we somewhere along the path we took a wrong turn. We didn't expect it at first, but one of the main requirements of the new platform is that it was scalable, also on an international scale. And it turned out that we come into a dead-end road already, and it was not scalable after a year. So we had to
Can you explain a bit more? What was the dead end? Why was there a dead end?
The dead end was because there was so much pressure on the development team and also on the agency to deliver the features and deliver the platform. We made shortcuts. We built things like mock-ups in the code. The code quality was not what you should expect from what it should be.
Yeah, from your prime product.
Because of the pressure on
delivery
to deliver.
Yeah.
So you prioritize time to market over perhaps quality.
Yeah. And that was kind of the reason that we got what we were already afraid of.
Yeah.
A non-scalable platform. And it was, from an architectural point of view, it was scalable, right?
Yeah.
It's a Mach architecture, microservices. It really was very nice,
innovative,
modern.
The way it should be.
Yes. It was. But
no guarantee for success.
Not guarantee for success.
And that's because the infrastructure was scalable, but not the application itself.
Yeah.
So then you have to basically have a lot of courage to really be honest.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit about that.
Ballsy.
Yeah. Well, it was we did a implementation strategy of the agency. They set down the basic architecture. They deployed kind of an accelerator. So within 2 months, we had that basic architecture with working with software. It worked, right. So that was really promising back then. In 2 months we already have a product.
Yeah.
And we decided to go for a strategy. First we built, they built it, then we built together, and then we take it over. We do it ourselves. And we were already in the transition of the team transition of building our own teams. So we went in 1 year, we went from one Scrum team to 3 full Scrum teams, product teams.
Yeah.
But wait. So you're adding another level of complexity, basically. So apart from the technical replatforming, you also transition from an agency to a full-house intern team.
Yes.
Internal
Yes.
team. Okay.
Together.
Yeah, just to
it
to
was
get
really
that clear.
challenging. It was
Yeah.
it was a very high ambition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the like you said, I think so. You're already back then had the kind of phase in, phase out approach of we'll start with you guys, then we'll have a kind of a blend, and then we'll take over. That was the strategy.
That
right?
was the strategy.
Really good.
Yeah.
When
and
was this?
that was almost a year ago,
Okay, yeah.
June
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah.
And it's hard to get new developers, especially in the area of Nijverdal. So we had a couple of very experienced freelancers in the teams, and they started to work with the software, and especially at the front end part of our platform, and they already come to the conclusion that we can't work with this software. It's just the quality is, we have to rebuild, right?
Yeah.
But before making that decision, because that's a really hard decision,
Yeah.
because that was set us back at least 6 to 8 months, at least.
Yeah.
Not only the time, but also the budget, from budget perspective.
Yeah.
So we looked at it from our leadership group. We had to make that very hard decision together to add a year to the project. And that was a very
can
hard
you tell us
decision.
about
And then the pressure starts.
Yeah.
So before you ask, so did you feel the pressure on your shoulders of the whole company? Then the pressure starts. Yeah.
So that was a management decision. Did it go up to shareholder level as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 What were the factors involved in making that decision?
Well, we made a very quick calculation based on how scalable is this platform, and how long does it take to add the new features which were already in our product backlog. Or after we go live, we can start bringing new features. And we did a calculation based on, if we add those new features to the platform, how much time does that take with the current
situation?
With the current situation, with the current team. And it took like 3 times longer on average, because of all the refactoring should have been done. So that was kind of the decision to add a year. Take it now. You know?
Take the pain now.
Take the pain now.
Have the benefit a little later.
And have the benefit a little later. Yeah.
But that also depends on your position in the market at that place, I can imagine.
Yeah.
You were able to kind of take that time and do that because of a good position in the market.
Yeah, we had a leader position, but there are already competitors coming really close. So it's a very difficult market. And also marketing spends, we needed more marketing spends to get the same result.
Yeah.
Right? So our expenses were going up.
Yeah, margins down.
Yeah, to upkeep with the rest of the competition.
Yeah. I know you celebrated something yesterday.
Yeah, we did.
You came to the office in Lederhosen, I just heard.
Yep.
So
thanks for remembering me.
Tell us
nice
about
visual
that.
there.
So because it's kind of, you're getting somewhere now. You're celebrating results.
Yeah, we're finally there's the end is near.
Yeah.
Right, and it's not the end. The end of the world.
We're not singing the end is near. No.
No, we're not saying that. But we went live. We went into production with Germany in March.
Congratulations!
And, thanks very much. And that was the first hurdle to take on the new platform, because Belgium is still this hybrid kind of
in between.
So that was the first large success we had. And on top of that, we had a very good result in the first quarter of this year. So that was really promising and gave us also, the feeling that we could overcome this challenge. Yeah.
If you now look back, and perhaps you gave a speech yesterday, I don't know if you did, but what were the highlights or the points that you really wanted to give back to the team that they did really well?
Good question. Well, the biggest highlights, I guess, is that the team is, although we had those setbacks, the team is able to to get really strong back, to be resilient, and to keep focused, motivated, be motivated, and work on the project. Even though we had a couple of challenges, or a lot of challenges and setbacks, we're still coming back stronger. And that's what I think is really what the culture of Toelevering on Profix.
Yeah,
that's the real culture there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, again, congratulations. I think it's an awesome job that you put Germany live as a first. Another question, if you'd go back in time, you're starting again at Toelevering Online and you have to redo the replatforming. They've asked you for the same job. What are the lessons learned that you would give your past self that you would have liked to know?
I think we went in with a little bit too much rush, I guess. So if I should have done it again, I would have taken, I think, a little bit more time in preparation. Although it was already a difficult situation with WordPress WooCommerce was really, and it was not able to expand on that platform.
But it wasn't. It was. I mean, the old platform wasn't breaking down. It was just not scaling anymore.
It wasn't. It was not breaking down. It was not scalable.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
So I think that I still would make the decision to replatform, right, and do a big bang, not a
gradual
iterate and so on. But I think we should take more time in what the complexity is like and what's ahead of us. Yeah.
Is there a big factor there? Like, I love this thing, like you don't know what you don't know, right? So in hindsight, there's always, take more time, but at that point in time, you don't know. How big is that factor? That should you calculate for that, for a margin? Looking backwards, like this is what we can do, but let's take that 20% extra time. Is that something that would be an advice to yourself then?
I don't think that works, because there's always an ambition, right? Mm-hmm. So if you take 20%, you're gonna need that 20%.
Yeah,
it's not. You're gonna use it, right? So it's for me, that's not a. Okay. I think you should have an ambition and go for it. And sure, of course, you can build him some slack, but the problem is then
you'll take it.
You take it.
Yeah.
If you relate it to sports again, if I know I can take another minute in my,
you would take that minute, but you end up being slower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So back to the metaphor of the Formula 1 car, if you think, well, I can do 3 minutes, then you take 3 minutes, but in the end you're slower, right?
So aim high.
Because the pressure, aim high. Yeah. Because there should be there's always a pressure. There should be pressure on the. Yeah.
And on the managing the complexity of this replatforming project across the technology, across the team, across every aspect, what would be your advice on managing that complexity then?
We were in such a rush, and we just did what needed to be done at that certain point in time. Yeah. So you make a decision based on the facts you have, and not based on what you don't know, right? Yeah.
Is it important to have like sponsors within the organization? Like, it's a very corporate thing, right? But somebody needs to take away some roadblocks so you can focus on delivering or whatever it is that focus on the project. Yeah. Is that something that is an important factor in moving along and moving ahead and keep the car running? Yeah,
I think the most important factor is that you do it together. Yeah. Also as a leadership team, the decisions you make, the challenge you have, the setbacks you have, you do it together. And that's, I think, if you really can share that burden, if you really can share the challenge, it feels differently. Yeah. And that's really helpful. Yeah. Really helpful.
So don't rush a big bang replatform. Find out where the complexity is. Be bold and have the ambition. Decide and do it together. Yeah. Those would be the 5 lessons. Yeah. Then I want to zoom in on the transformational process, basically, because we've already got the bridge here, the winning team and do it together. If I read the story of Profix and Toelevering Online, it's about building a scale up. You're in you started as a startup, obviously, but now you're in the scale up phase. Yeah. What does that mean?
Well, scaling up and coming from a startup and scaling up and also using the scale up framework for that is already an agile approach, right? Where we, from from product and technology, our department, we work Scrum, Scrum Agile.
Yep.
And that's, and scaling up is kind of the same framework in essence, only with a different frequency.
Yep.
So where we, in product and technology, we use sprints in 2 weeks. And in scaling up, we use rocks, which are kind of sprints in that essence, and those are 3 months. So we work in
major
quarters.
releases, perhaps. Yeah.
Yeah, it's because it's those rocks from a company. The company rocks are goals, are strategic, based on strategic goals. So we set us the challenge in 3 months to explore new business opportunities, creating experiments, implementing it in 3 months' time. So every 3 months we need to scale up and add new things to the company.
Yeah. What's on? I'm not sure if you can say it for this year or for the past year. Can you give an example?
Well, starting this year, because we are the transformation is part of the is part of a strategic plan. In the last couple of quarters, the transformation was central. So we had last quarter we had Germany go live.
Yeah.
So we really put effort into making sure that Germany is live. Before that, we had a kind of a 0.9 version of the new platform with certain features which needed to be go live, at least on staging. And we did a usability test with customers to check whether or not we are on the right path. Last quarter, different from the project we ran, from the transformation, we did a kind of a key to success. That was the title of the rock, in which we because we kind of changed the organization model of the company, growing to a group, because we have expanded to Belgium and to Germany, and this year we're going to expand even further to another country, a fourth country. So we started organization into a group level, and we created an organization especially for the Dutch market. It was a little bit of we're still figuring out how we work together, how new people working together. A lot of new people joined the company as well. So we did a rock in setting that new base. And my colleague of mine did a really, really good job in creating that new base so that people are aligned, know what their responsibilities are. We work with top grading. It's also part of scaling up, which is kind of a performance framework, method.
On an individual level or on a team level?
Both. Yeah, in that sense. Yeah. So we implemented that as well. So that was so besides transforming, we still do other strategic parts in the company as well,
which is also transforming, right?
It's also it's transforming the business.
Transforming the business.
Part of the change. I wonder, because if I read about Toelevering Online and hear you speak, it's all about ambition and movement and drive and continuously learning, scaling, doubling numbers. There's also in sports you have like overtraining or. There's a boundary to how much you can do. Yeah. How do you balance that?
Yeah, that's really difficult. That's really difficult because it takes energy, right? Yeah. To constantly, if you develop, not only from a personal point of view, but also from a company, from teams, developing continue, it costs energy. Yeah. Because it's exploring, it's new ground.
It's exciting.
It's really exciting. It's also if you succeed. It really gives back that energy. It's so much energy, because if you succeed, you can win the success. And
you can come to the office in Lederhosen.
You can come to the office in Lederhosen, exactly. But it also costs a lot of energy. Yeah. And not always it's being you not always succeed in that part. So you try new things, but they not always end up in success, right? So from the 10 ideas, 9 will end up in the trash bin. So
everyone on the team accepts that, right? I mean, everyone, you have to.
Yeah, you have to. If we seen people, breakdown of the last couple of years, and because it's a culture which is, or a company, a type of company in which it's you have to fit. You have to be able to do that because it's different. It's different than working in a big corporate, which is kind of slower. You're constantly. It's like, back to the metaphor of Formula One. I'm a Formula One fan, so sorry. It's like driving a Formula One car. I never did it, but I can imagine. I can imagine exactly.
You want to one day?
Yeah, sure, I want to. But it's like driving a Formula One car for the first time, uncontrollably, and doing that lap, but then from a continuous pace. So it's like, for example, the first time you learn how to ride a bike, right, or how to learn to drive a car or skiing. It costs a lot of energy to get that skill. And that's kind of the comparison to which the company is, but also the people, all the people in the company have. That
and they
challenge.
want to learn.
You have to.
Constantly learning, constantly developing.
And accepting that there's a part is failure as well, right?
Well, accepting failure, but seeing failure as a learning opportunity.
As a learning opportunity.
Instead of framing something you want to avoid.
Well, you say that as much you want. Every time I fail, still hurts.
It still hurts. It still hurts.
I read this. I just finished a book which is about scaling 10 times instead of 2 times, where regular organizations are in a bit of a 2 times modus, and you seem like you're one of the 10 times modus. And one of the kind of perspective shifts for me in the book is about the gain and the gap. That's what it's Dan Sullivan is that. Where if you focus on the gap and what you still have to do in order to reach your dot on the horizon, so the path that you still have to do, it can be frustrating, daunting, demotivating because of the fact that you're in a point and you see the work that still needs to be done. Whereas if you focus on the gain, so what have you learned in the meantime? What have you progressed in the meantime? How have you transitioned in the meantime? And celebrate that. It becomes a motivator instead of a demotivator. And that for me was like a mindset shift.
Well,
Yeah, that's really true, Janinka, because that's kind of in our company what we have to do all the time. Breaking things down into little pieces. And make it the smaller pieces easier to digest. So, and really look at the successes. What have we gained? What have we learned?
Focus on the successes there. I also want to talk a little bit about also a combination with sports again. The theory of time and kind of you need, in order to be a top performer, for example, you're Lady Gaga or whoever, or a top sports, you have your peak performance days. You have to deliver, and that's the moment that you have to shine. You have your practice organization days where you put in the work, you're disciplined, you structure your work, and you just go at it. But you also need the free time, the mental stress-free zone to innovate. What's that like at Toelevering Online?
Well, what's it like? It's a balance between those because they interfere in each other in that sense. Because when you think you have the opportunity to take a little bit of time, and then it comes right back. You come right back into reality. We need to do this and this and that, and so it's a really challenge to balance between those, making sure you have the time to recalibrate and get.
How do you do that on a personal level? And your team? How does your team do that?
Well, we like to give the opportunity to the team to still be able to do the things they need to do, right? So they are constantly focused. They need to constantly be focused. So that's a very important part. But again, they need to be able to develop themselves. So no matter what the challenge is and no matter what the pressure is, we still need to think about the people and go out sometimes and also be able to take the time for them to develop. So that's also, I think that's a very high priority.
Right.
Yeah, we don't want to miss on that.
No, you can't. Never. I think it will then kind of lead to a loss, I guess.
It's on a longer term, it's gonna lead to losses. People will, or eventually gonna leave the company. So that's kind of a big risk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In your opinion, what makes a winning team?
What makes a winning team? I think a winning team is a team which is able to collaborate together. You know, it's putting a team together with people who are able to work together, and that's from a kind of what kind of people you have, what kind of culture you want to create, and focus on the culture you want to achieve, and not the culture which is there right now. So also that means hiring people which are a fit to the to be culture. So it means hire not only good people, but priority is in, can they work together?
Yeah.
What kind of people are there? Do they fit our culture? Those are the essence and base where it starts, right? So you have a team of people which are able to work together and fit the company as well, because it's whenever we do someone comes to apply for a job, and we have a candidate. One of the first things I say, do you know in which kind of company you just
applied for?
Yeah. Where did you apply for?
What does that mean?
What does that mean? And you only know what it means because you can explain it, right? Those are the words, but you have to really feel that. You have to experience that. Yeah. Inspired and motivating that, making them part of the journey.
Yeah.
And that's very important. That's also where leadership has a big role in it, making sure that people are aligned, that they are engaged, that they're the ones who determine on which way to go.
Yeah, we're about to come to a close already. But not before I ask you what's next for Toelevering Online.
Well, what's next? The challenge this quarter, again, it's a rock, is finally deploying this new platform to production. Yeah. So that's kind of the first hurdle to take. And also we are working on what's ahead of us. How does, from a strategic point of view, how is our department, our company is going to evolve? Yeah. New markets, we're already working on that, because we want to make sure that we constantly evolve and keep evolving, although we're doing this transformation and doing this, going to production next month. Yeah. So that's ahead of us, and not only that, we are going to the fourth country, looking into that, and that's really what I'm excited about. I love working in international companies, and now it's really starting to get internationally, attract new people also from different countries, different cultures, and that's what really for me. That was the first thing when I joined the company. We're going to go we're going to expand. Yeah.
Awesome.
So I'm really excited.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I have a lot more questions, but we're running out of time. So my final dilemma for you, and I think I might already know the answer. I'm going to give you a dilemma, and you have to choose either option A or B. And then you can obviously nuance what you choose and why. But the situation is you're midway through a replatforming process, and your team discovers a major opportunity. So not a setback, but an opportunity with a new technology that could once again put you on a strategic advantage way ahead of the rest. However, it will delay the rollout of your current platform by 6 months, and will increase your budget significantly. Yeah. Do you stick to the original plan or go for the new opportunity?
Well, of course it depends, because
you have to choose.
But I know, I have to choose. I would go for option B, because I think if there's a way to innovate, to really set us forward, and it only takes us 6 months, it's a no-brainer.
You'll manage.
I'll manage.
So Niek, we also have a question from our previous guest, which is Melissa Perotti of Bol. Yeah. She's she's an expert in data and measuring. So obviously her question is, how do you measure your success, and if you're en route?
Well, we measure success starting from the top of the company. We've got like 4 main KPIs. We measure revenue, margin, and NPS and eNPS. So that's kind of the main
four,
our main KPI. So and working with scaling up, we've got this we've got these scaling up events. We did this daily. So every day we go through those KPIs. How is the revenue? Is it on target? Is it on budget? We do the margin. Again, we do the NPS. So what do customers think of us, and where can we do it better? And also EMPS, because that's also a very important KPI. One of our main KPIs. How are our
Our employer NPS.
Is everyone happy here? Yeah.
Yeah, it's the winning team again.
The winning team again. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. And that was it for this episode of Evolving Digital. And feel free to subscribe to our channel and follow us for new episodes.
Stay connected to the Evolving Digital podcast. See you next time.